stretch together, I want to remind you that this is meant to be a simple stretch. We're not here to work out or do any type of Pilates, but we are here to be in touch with our bodies and feel what way of worship may work for us. And so I encourage you to just take a moment to feel any areas of tension in your body, especially around the psoas muscle, around our hips, our lower stomach. They can hold a lot of tension or trauma. The same thing with our rotator cuffs, moving our arms. We can feel any areas of tension or knots in our shoulders or neck. These are hot spots in our body where we can hold tension. We could feel tightness or discomfort. Let's see, let me make sure we're live. So we're going to switch now, putting our other opposite hand between our shoulder blades. Again, connecting to that rotator cuff that moves our shoulders and arms, controls our stability in our upper back, our shoulders and necks. And connecting it down to that psoas muscle that extends all the way from our hips up to our chest. That stabilizes our spine, keeps our body long and strong. Again, our goal is just simply to be in touch with these parts of our bodies and start to put a label on what they're called as a way of understanding ourselves, understanding our physical self. We started our service series by learning about our own connection with Christ and how Christ can live within us when we show up consistently for ourselves and others, living for Him through Him, connecting to our breath. We're always continuing those practices, breathing gently as we continue this gentle movement. Our goal is to understand these parts of our bodies and find what works for us so that we can better connect to ourselves and therefore to our community. The more confident we feel in our own bodies and connected we feel to ourselves, the better we are able to show up for others. So we're continuing this breath, just taking a moment to bend this elbow up towards the ceiling. Our hand is here between our shoulder blades, fingertips reaching down to open up that rotator cuff. Your armpit should be wide open, but feel free to release if you feel any discomfort at all, especially around our neck. We're super gentle with our neck to avoid any type of injury, especially because knots or tension could keep here in our shoulders. Our goal is to be really gentle with this part of our body. So let's go ahead and release. And we're going to bring, hi Stephen, welcome in. We're going to bring our hand back up here between our shoulder blades and push our elbow gently down. Again, opening up this rotator cuff. This is a group of muscles between our shoulder, back, and arm. Our fingertips could go a little further down now because we are pushing down our elbow just slightly, but we're still being gentle with our necks while we do this. So our necks remain neutral. I encourage you to tuck your chin in toward your neck and look down gently towards your knees to encourage your neck to stay neutral. We're not putting any strain there. Now I'm going to reach both arms up and switch over. Opposite hand between my shoulder blades. My hand pushes down gently on the top of my elbow to reach my fingertips down. We'll continue this for 2 more breaths. And then reach our arms back up and put them down to either side. We're going to start to shake out our shoulders here, allowing our chest to stay open and strong, spine straight. As we reach over towards the opposite knee, our fingertips come behind us, and we stretch our chest towards this side so that our shoulders can be level with the wall beyond us. Again, our necks are neutral, so our chins are just gently turning that direction. And as we exhale, we'll come back to our center. We're holding that movement just for a minute so we can feel the connection between our rotator cuff, that group of muscles, and our psoas muscle that moves down through our stomach. So now I'm moving the other direction. My hands here on my knee, opposite hand behind you, chin looking at that wall, shoulders as level as possible with the wall opposite you. And so what we're talking about today is language as a learning tool to define our oneness within and around. And if you watched our service this morning, you may have heard the message that God's love is too big for us to truly understand. His story is bigger than our understanding. And so what we're practicing today is the acceptance that we don't know everything, but our fight and our drive to understand as much as we can. So let's come back here to our center and put our hands here to our chest. Taking a deep breath. I'm breathing out with a simple H sound. Almost like you're saying ha or ha. Breathing in through your nose and releasing with the H sound. To encourage your chest to fill and fall as you breathe. Our hands are here at our hearts, keeping our shoulders open and spines high, tall, and strong. You know, I forgot to put our music today, so as you continue our breath, let me add in some music to our practice to help you center yourself here. And as you continue your breath, you could add an om, aha, or a prayer breath, either silently or out loud. We have a new speaker set up today. So I'm actually going to play from my phone, and it may not show from home, but I do encourage you to play some gentle, quiet, instrumental yoga music. Music is a really powerful way for us to connect to our bodies and be in the moment mindfully. We talked at the beginning of our service series about binaural beats. Let me go ahead and put a binaural beat, matter of fact. We talked about how you can look up different versions for different reasons. I'm going to put on one that's 40 hertz right now for concentration. And hopefully that will help you connect and release any worry, just to be with our thoughts here. Thank you for your patience while I set that up. And so again, our goal is not to be uncomfortable at all with these motions, but to allow ourselves to feel vulnerable, to accept the way that we're showing up, and use these moments, these movements as learning tools, as a means to define our oneness within and around us. Once again, I'm breathing in to my nose and sighing out with an H sound. And so we've talked a lot about these centers or portals in our body to experience physical peace or spiritual sensations. Here at our heart is one of them. We practice another with our rotator cuffs touching between our shoulder blades today. We practiced here at our hips and our lower bellies. And so these centers of our bodies are not necessarily defined. They're not necessarily proven or backed by science, but for us to show up and try them is all we're asking of ourselves. Let's practice our Qigong, practicing tapping here on our shoulders side to side. Nice and gentle. Again, neutral posture here. Just feeling the sensation of a gentle tap to be in touch with our bodies, understanding that we won't understand everything, but giving ourselves the freedom to feel. We've talked about a couple different ways to feel and to experience the release that can come along with movement. Visualizing and releasing those portals within us. We're practicing our shoulders and hips today, those rotator cuffs, the muscles that hold our arms and shoulders together, and our psoas muscle that connects our upper and lower bodies. So let's go ahead and move down, our hands down to our either side, our feet in front of us. We're going to start to open our hips side to side, letting our knees fall. We're starting to work on our lower bodies now. We've talked about fascia release, somatic movement, of course yoga, grounding, breath work. All of these are practices just for us to have a language to define what we're feeling. But we understand that maybe these feelings cannot be defined, that maybe we don't understand it all, and that our physical experience is personal. So what feels right for you may not be the same for others. Always, I want to remind you to come back to a pose that feels right for you. We're never looking to feel discomfort or pain. From here, we're going to put our feet together, toes touching, into a butterfly pose. I'm going to keep my hands behind me first so that I can push my tailbone in and back. I'm going to allow myself gently to fall back onto my mat. Each vertebrae at a time is landing back behind me. I come down to my forearms and gently down to my shoulders until my head is down on my mat. Let me scooch up so you can see at home. And here you can put your hands at your stomach, or you could put your arms at either side of you at a right angle so that your arms are up, your elbows are bent. Encouraging release in those rotator cuffs again. And of course our psoas muscle. Imagining those muscle groups can really help us visualize their release, to identify areas of tension. And so again, my hope is that our language, these definitions, will provide you with a higher level of understanding, accepting that we won't understand it all, that it's a personal experience, but that by learning these things, we can better connect to ourselves and to others. And so that's something that I really love about this church, is our openness to understand, to see things and talk about things that we might not otherwise, but still knowing that God is our ultimate source and that Jesus is our inspiration. We affirm the Christ within us and choose to show and spread love in our lives. So let's put our hands here on our stomach together. Connect to the Christ within you, imagining that psoas muscle, that center and portal in your body, filling with air and gently releasing, allowing yourself to melt down to your mat as you breathe into your nose and out from your mouth. We felt our breath in our chest. Now we're feeling our breath move through our belly. A belly breath is a powerful tool to calm us and to encourage a mindful moment in whatever moment we're having, whatever circumstance we're facing. These are tools that allow us to connect to Christ in times of challenges and in times of peace. We're fostering the Christ within. From here, we're going to put our feet back up about shoulder width apart towards the front of our mat and practice those hip openers again. This time laying down, our upper body is completely relaxed, melted into our mat. And gently our knees are falling side to side. Again, this is a common movement you'll see us practice through this series, because our goal is to release, and here in our hips we can hold a lot of tension, a lot of tightness. So this is a really great movement to practice throughout your day, to identify those areas of tightness. You may notice one hip is tighter than the other. I encourage you to gently lean into it. Of course, avoiding any pain or discomfort, but embracing the awkwardness of it all, of course. Maybe these movements feel awkward or foreign to you. That's part of our knowing that we don't get it all, we don't understand it all. We're not perfect at these movements, but we show up to try them and learn from them. And that consistency connects us. So be gentle with you. While stretching can be technical and full of definitions or complex understandings, stretching, specifically yoga, has always been a means to connect to our spiritual and physical selves. So let's put our arms back up, allowing release again in our rotator cuffs. And coming back down, bringing our legs back down to a butterfly. Nice and gentle, allowing your knees to fall to either side, opening your hips completely here. Arms up at that right angle, fingers up, palms up toward the ceiling. Continuing our breath here, in through our nose, out from our mouth, as we affirm, I trust in what's right for me. I trust in what's right for me. Again, only you know how your body's feeling or what your body needs. So these moments of mindfulness and stretching are a means for us to connect and feel and understand better our own physical experience. Knowing that Christ is within us is an act of faith. As we talked about in our sermon this morning, it's an act of hope. And though it's hard to hold on to hope when we don't have a clear definition or a full understanding, what we're practicing tonight is knowing that we don't know, accepting that our understanding is limited, but that the feeling of faith is fulfilling. The sensation of spirituality. We're going to put our knees back up together, checking that we don't feel any pain or discomfort here in our hips as we zip our legs up together, pushing our knees together, feet together, still pressing our upper bodies and hips into our mat, grounding ourselves here. As we push our knees up toward our chest, our hands here at our knees will gently push down. And this is a way for us to check that there's no pain or discomfort in our hips from that opening. We're taking notice of how we feel here. We could start to make some circles, drawing circles here at our knees, to notice those areas of tension as we continue. Just gently dropping them forward a bit and bringing one ankle up toward my knee. I'm going to push my knee My left knee is pushing down on my right ankle. You can put your hands here at the back of your leg to increase that stretch, pushing down gently on my left hamstring now to encourage my right ankle to come towards my chest. My right hand is going to gently be pushing on my right knee up toward the ceiling, encouraging both legs to stay level and straight. Again, feeling free to release at any time, noticing those areas of discomfort and releasing them. We don't want to cause any injuries here to our hips. So we're continuing to check in and resetting if we need to. I'll gently push my palms on either side just a bit more to deepen the stretch. Then I will release back down and again hug my knees to my chest. Drawing little circles if you'd like. Allowing our legs to feel loose. Encouraging openness and release, of course, but resetting if we need to. Now I'm switching legs to the opposite direction. The left ankle is coming up to the right knee. My hand is on my left knee, pushing up gently, and my right hand can come to my hamstring and push down, bringing my ankle towards my chest. Again, we're affirming here, I trust in what's right for me, knowing that we're not meant to feel uncomfortable or in pain, but maybe awkward, because we're here to move freely and lovingly, accepting in ourselves to connect with our physical self and to each other. Now we'll gently release both legs back down to our mat and continue those hip openers, taking notice of any discomfort, any tension, as we continue our hip opening sequence today. Focusing still on that psoas muscle, imagining how it twists your body from your chest down to your hips. Again, visualizing these muscles, understanding these parts of our bodies can facilitate our practice. Now we'll stop here at our center, and we're going to push our knees to the opposite side with our legs down toward the front of our mat. So choose one side. I'm going to start here with my left and twist my entire hip over to this side. My knee comes all the way over to the opposite side. So I have my left knee coming down to my right side, twisting and turning that psoas muscle from my hips to my chest. Imagine how it twists your body here. And now we're going to engage to our rotator cuff, that other group of muscles at the top of your back and neck, by putting our left arm out toward the opposite wall, palms up. We're looking beyond our fingertips, turning our heads as well, keeping those necks neutral. Feeling free to release at any time. My right hand is pushing down here on my left thigh to encourage that knee to fall down toward your right side.
Again, we're not worrying about our posture or form. So long as we feel comfortable, we lean into this stretch, allowing these muscles to open and release any tightness. We'll stay here for a few more breaths. And then we'll come back to our center with our feet out to the front. We're moving to the other direction now. This knee comes up and I twist it over to the opposite side. My shoulders stay in contact with my mat as best as I can. But again, I'm imagining that entire psoas muscle twisting and turning me now to the left side. My right knee is falling to my left side. And again, my right arm reaches toward the opposite side, toward my right side. Stretching those fingers out, palms up. I look toward those fingertips. Twisting my chin in that direction. But always releasing and resetting if needed. My left hand can come here to my thigh and gently push, encouraging that knee to fall down to the opposite side. Be sure to continue your belly breath here. Deep breathing is always a great way to stay in touch with how you're feeling and to encourage a deepening of each stretch. Beautiful. We're going to come back to our center, right into a corpse pose, to again feel any sensation or tightness in our bodies.
We're continuing to check in here because again, these are hot spots. These are areas that can hold a lot of tightness. So I always want to be sure that we're not causing any injury to these areas. We're being very gentle and just encouraging gentle release. You can put your arms up here at your right angle, opening up those rotator cuffs yet again. Necks are neutral again, and our legs are going to come up about shoulder width apart, bending our knees. We're going to keep them bent right here for just a moment, getting comfortable in this position. So that we can focus on now strengthening our rotator cuff, that group of muscles between your neck, arm, and shoulders. And how we're going to do that is by pressing our chest up toward the ceiling. Our heads will turn behind us so that our gaze is looking straight behind us, our chin's up toward the ceiling, our chest is rising up, but our tailbone stays in contact with our mat. This is a mini version of a fish pose. We're keeping our shoulders down as best we can. Still, our elbows are in that 90-degree angle. And we're breathing through this movement. Noticing how it feels to hold our chest up in this way. We're using that rotator cuff, that group of muscles and ligaments to push our bodies up. I encourage you, as you stay here for a few more breaths, to push your chin back and up. Again, our neck should stay neutral, but by pushing from our chin, we lift our chest even more before we exhale to gently release from our stomach to our upper back, all the way up to our heads. Releasing back down again, ensuring that our hands are at either side, palms up, elbows at a 90-degree angle. Again, centering our bodies here, grounding ourselves in this position. As we inhale, we push up again from the center of our chest, sliding our heads up and back, chins up toward the ceiling. We're gazing behind us, engaging those muscles to hold our chest up, curving our spine so that our tailbone is holding our weight. For a modified fish pose. Again, pushing those chins up behind you. And then exhaling down from the bottom of our spine to the top to come back to neutral. Our knees are bent, our arms are at our 90-degree angle. We're welcome here to practice some hip circles, allowing our knees to move gently here to encourage ourselves to find our center and to embrace the strength that we've just created by engaging those muscles, pushing our chest up. We've opened our chest, we've strengthened our spine, we're feeling more stable, more strong. And that's our goal here today, is to strengthen and stretch. From here, I'm going to come back to my laying butterfly, my feet together, allowing my knees to fall to either side. So we can engage now both groups of muscles. My hips are open. My arms can stay in that 90-degree angle. And again, I'll push my body up here for a modified fish pose. My spine is off the mat, my chest is up toward the ceiling, chin's looking up and behind. Now here, even though it's about the same position, our knees are open, our hips are open here as well. And so as you gaze behind you, imagine a lengthening of your spine from your toes up to your nose. We are long and strong, allowing our bodies to be open before we release back down, one vertebrae at a time, until our heads come back to neutral. Again, we could make some hip circles here, coming back up to knees bent. And again, finding our center. As you exhale, go ahead and release your hands. Straighten your legs. Coming back to our corpse pose. You can put your hands here at your stomach, again feeling that belly breath. Connecting to our breath and to ourselves. Knowing that showing up is enough, that we don't need to understand everything or do these things perfectly. But showing us up gives us strength, consistently practicing things that feel good for us, empowers us, and connects us to the Christ within. So as we stay here in corpse pose for just a moment, I encourage you to practice your prayer breath. To breathe in and out words or phrases that you may need to hear now. Could be as simple as breathing in love and exhaling light. Seeing our whole body here as a portal to the Christ within. From here, knees come back up. We're going to choose a side and turn our bodies over. Nice and gentle, taking notice of how our hips feel here. We're going to push up from our palms and come right into a tabletop position. So my hands are about shoulder width apart, as are my knees. Necks and spines are neutral. Not worried about my posture here. Again, I'm focusing on learning and practicing what feels right for my body to stretch and strengthen. We'll stay here in this tabletop for just a moment to get ourselves comfortable in this position. And together we'll practice strengthening our full body with a plank pose. Now this could be a real challenge. I encourage you to hold this plank for as long or as little as you'd like. Our goal is just to practice these moments to connect to our entire physical self. And a plank is a great way to strengthen our whole body, connect to all of these muscle groups. So right now in our tabletop, we are using our rotator cuff here at our shoulders to stabilize from our upper back down to our palms. And what we're going to do is imagine those muscles pushing from the back, from between our shoulder blades down to our palms. We feel the strength here in our palms, and we can push our arms up, allowing our strength to rest here as I put the balls of my feet back and push up from my feet. Again, continuing to imagine that stability from your rotator cuff between your shoulder blades. You're imagining how that strength is radiating down to your palms, holding your body up here in a plank. We're not worried about our lower body yet. So long as the balls of our feet are stabilizing us here, we're focusing on the strength here in our palms. And then releasing back down gently to our knees to exhale back down to our tabletop. Again, pushing the tops of our feet down into our mat. Coming back to this tabletop. The soles of our feet are up toward the ceiling, but our palms are staying strong and stable. Feel free to release this at any time. Stretching into a child's pose would be a great idea to release any tightness or tension you may be feeling. But we're focusing on strengthening this rotator cuff here. Visualizing that muscle group. That strength radiating down your arms to your palms to push your body back up, back to our plank. We're going to practice this 2 times tonight. Again, hold this for as long or as little as you'd like. Not worrying about our lower body here. It's totally fine if you need to bend your knees or put your bottom up. So long as you're imagining strength between your shoulder blades down to your palms. Then releasing back down to your knees. And coming right into a cat-cow, looking up to the ceiling. Belly's down. And releasing our chin to our chest. Tucking our hips here, tucking our chin for a rounded spine. Before we release again, heads up to the ceiling, belly buttons down. Then once more, chins to your chest and hips in. We come back to neutral, back to our tabletop. Again, finding our center here. Our knees should be about shoulder width apart. Same with our palms. And our focus right now is to keep our shoulders over our wrist, to create a straight line from our shoulders down to our wrist. That's important so that we can prevent injury here on our wrists. They're holding a lot of weight here right now. So feel free to release at any time. We'll stay here for just a moment to continue to engage our back muscles, pushing the tops of our feet into our mat. As I share with you here, do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have received from God? You're not your own. You were bought at a price. Therefore, honor God with your bodies. The Lord does not look at things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. This is a reminder to us that it's not about our form or how long we can hold a plank, but about showing up for our physical self and therefore honoring God with our bodies. So from here, I'm going to allow my tailbone to come back toward my toes. My hands stay in the same position, reaching those fingertips toward the front of your mat. You can choose one side. And we're going to practice that twist, again engaging our rotator cuff and our psoas muscles as we weave one hand under the other arm and allowing our heads to fall gently over that shoulder. We gaze beyond our fingertips, keeping our opposite hand stretching toward the front of our mat. Our tailbone is neutral, pushing behind us toward our toes. And something I want you to focus on here is the sensation of the top of your feet pushing down into your mat. Again, to avoid injury here at our wrists or ankles, we're going to continue to check in with these areas and allow ourselves to reset or release at any time. To deepen this stretch, you can allow your head to melt down further toward your mat. Imagining your spine long and strong. A clear goal in yoga or stretching is to lengthen the spine. So by allowing our ear to melt down toward the mat, our tailbone to go back toward our toes, we're creating a separation of sorts between our upper and lower body, allowing that psoas muscle to really stretch. Our shoulders melt down toward our mat. Again, bringing our focus back to that rotator cuff between our shoulder blades and neck. We gently bring it back up to a child's pose, hands about shoulder width apart, fingertips stretching toward the front of your mat. Again, checking in with our ankles here, the sensation of the top of our feet pushing against our mat. Allowing ourselves to release and reset at any time.
We'll stay here for one more breath, and then we'll switch over to the other direction. Our right hand stays in the same place. Our left hand weaves through under our arm. We allow our shoulder to melt down. Our fingertips continue to stretch toward the front of our mat. Opposite hand stretches to your side. And our tailbone falls back, creating that separation and stretch in our psoas muscle. Starting our focus there, checking in with our ankles. Then bringing our focus up to that rotator cuff, that group of muscles. We allow our shoulder and our ear to melt down toward our mat on that left side now. And again, always a helpful practice to deepen into stretch is to practice a breath. Today, introduce a type of breath called Ujjayi breathing, which is where we inhale and exhale through the nose, creating that H sound as we breathe. Our mouths are neutral, and gently we're releasing a ha or whoosh sound very quietly, so gently, just to allow our chest to be open. As we completely release that breath. With each breath, we're pushing out all the air we have, clearing it out and refilling it through our nose. So let's go ahead and release again toward child's pose. Fingers toward the front of your mat. And then pushing back up to our tabletop. Here at our tabletop, we're checking in with our feet. Go ahead and do some wiggles of your feet. Push those balls of your feet back, or draw some circles in the air to check in with your ankles. We were keeping the soles of our feet up and pushing the tops of our feet down into our mat. Now we're going to move the opposite direction. The soles of our feet are pushing down toward our mat. The balls of our feet are pushing and holding our weight here. Still, we're imagining that strength radiating down from our rotator cuff down to our palms. We stabilize our upper body there. And now we're stabilizing our lower body as well by pushing our toes, the balls of our feet, into our mat. And allowing the weight to fall here on the balls of our feet as we push our knees up, hips back, right into a downward dog pose. I'm allowing gravity to melt my head and neck down toward my mat. Feeling free to pedal your feet or hands as needed. Because again, this is another full body movement that can strengthen and connect all parts of our physical self. And so here, please notice any tensions, any tightness, especially in that psoas muscle and your rotator cuff, between your shoulder blades,
and through your abdomen, stabilizing your spine down to your hips. Feeling free to release at any time. A tabletop would be a great position to release too. We'll stay here for a few more breaths as we pray together. May God grant peace to you all, and may your whole spirit, soul, and body be kept sound and blameless until the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Now gently we'll walk the balls of our feet up toward our hands and come right into a forward fold. My feet are about shoulder width apart. My hips stay back, but I'm starting to allow my knees to straighten. And I'm allowing my arms to completely release now. Necks and upper bodies become neutral and loose. Letting gravity do the work for us. We're allowing release there. Feel free to check in with your wrist here. You can draw some circles with your wrist now. Start to move your hands. Shaking out our fingers. Checking in with those fragile parts that hold our weight while we practice these strengthening positions. Feeling free to release and reset. As we start to spread our legs into a triangle pose. Now we're a little further than shoulder width apart. Our upper bodies stay neutral. We're allowing ourselves to melt down toward our mat. You can come to the center. You could stretch to either side, grabbing onto the side of your foot or ankle. Nice and gentle, moving slowly from one side to another. Allowing our upper bodies to feel comfortable, releasing down in this way. Because not only will this straighten our spines, but it will strengthen the muscles that hold us up. So here, let's start to clasp our hands together. Feeling the sensation of us pushing our palms together, allowing complete release in our wrist here. And then copying that same movement behind our backs. Chest open. I'm opening up my chest here, pressing together my shoulder blades to clasp my hands behind my back. Then if you're able, you can gently push them up toward the ceiling, allowing your neck to fall completely down. You're looking behind you now. Your hands are clasped behind your back and gently pushing up and toward your front. Allowing our rotator cuff to fully open here. Necks are neutral. Chests are open. Feeling free to bend our knees. Our lower body is not our focus here. Just focusing on that group of muscles between our neck and shoulders before we gently release, coming back down. Hands still clasped behind us, our head starting to come up toward the ceiling. Hands stay cuffed behind us, clasped behind us. As we stack our vertebrae one on top of another, straighten our spines. And opening our chest here. Hands stay clasped behind us, pushing them down now toward our feet. Chins up. Continuing our breath to continue to push those hands down and chest out. From here, we'll gently release, coming up into standing. putting our hands back here at our heart. As we hear God's word, my flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. And so with these words, we combine our understanding with our faith. Though God's love is too big for us to define, the sensation of Christ within is our power. The Lord is our strength and our shield. My heart trusts in him and he helps me. Christ is my strength, we affirm. Christ is my strength. So let's come back down into sitting now.